Hey everybody, it's Morgan again. I just wanted to put this little tidbit at the beginning of this video because my goal was to have 2 videos this past week, and of course it didn't happen because, as I said in my last video, I've been having some trouble. So this is part 4. The one I just posted was part 5. I didn't know if this was going to post or not. I almost gave up, honestly. So I screwed up and did part 4. It's really supposed to be part 5. I'm probably going to fix that anyway. But this is YouTober part 4, so enjoy. Also, a little thing, because my dad's birthday is coming up tomorrow. So Dad, I just want to say happy birthday. I hope you have a wonderful day tomorrow. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and welcome to YouTober part 4. So, I decided to do something a little different for YouTober part 4. I decided, because I'm a huge history nerd and I've always been curious about the history of Halloween. I remember growing up, I was raised Catholic. I remember my dad saying, oh, it's a pagan holiday. And I never knew what pagan was. We never really touched on it in school. And then finally, when I was in college, I took a class about religion, and they touched on paganism, and I started doing more research and then found out Halloween is absolutely based off pagan festivities. So I decided today to do a video about the history of Halloween while doing my makeup. So to start off, first of all, the video title, it's gonna say Samhain, a history of Halloween. Now, it's not actually pronounced Samhain. The word itself is Gaelic, from Ireland, Scotland area, UK, present day UK. So it's a Gaelic word, and it actually is pronounced Samhain, or Samhain. There's 2 different variations, apparently. So Samhain was the predecessor to Halloween. The commercialized holiday we know and love. It is commercialized. Going back to the ancient feast of Samhain, before it was called All Hallows Eve. That's a whole other thing. So that's when the Christians stepped in. This is pre-Christianity. This is before popes and all that stuff. This is as early as like the 5th century, I believe. So according to my research. So October 31st marked the end of their year. So there's 4 quarterly festivals, 4 big holidays, big rituals that they celebrated, and Samhain was the one to mark all of them because it was the end and the beginning of a new year. They also believed that the veil between living and the dead was lifted. Therefore, good and evil spirits of their ancestors, loved ones, and malevolent spirits, demons from the other world, would come and steal the souls of the people, of their children, all that stuff. So they really took it seriously. This was their religion too. This was their belief systems. That being said, because they believed that the spirits of the dead came to Earth at this time, they would actually dress in costume. They would dress up as animals or other beasts. As time went on through into the Middle Ages, they would become more malevolent. They would become more evil, more scary, spooky, hence why nowadays a lot of costumes are witches, ghosts, ghouls, vampires, monsters, because it was meant to fool and possibly scare away those malevolent spirits, to kind of challenge them so they would not want to go near that person. They also did it for the children because they did not want to risk their children's souls being stolen or to be kidnapped. There were some monsters that they believed came onto Earth during Samhain, including a shapeshifter called Puka. They would leave offerings out in the fields for him. There's another called Lady Gwyn, a headless woman dressed in white, often accompanied by a black pig. And she was known to scare and terrorize night wanderers, people that just happened to be passing through. Then there was the Dullahan, who were these impish creatures, usually headless, carrying their own heads, similar to the Headless Horseman, but not exactly it. And they would be riding these horses with fiery eyes, and would, hang on a minute, got it. Usually if you saw these creatures, that was a death omen. In other words, you see one, you're about to die. A lot of rituals, in fact, they would actually let their hearths burn out in their homes. So every home had its hearth, had a fireplace to keep the home warm, to cook, to boil water, that kind of stuff. Would actually let these fires burn out while they went and they would go harvest their crops, what they could harvest. And then they would, at the end, once the fire was burned out, they would go to the center of town. Druid priests were the ones who would light this huge bonfire using a wheel, and they would light a bonfire. They'd sacrifice cattle and other things such as like their own crops they just harvested. Not all of them, obviously, but just enough to thank the gods for a bountiful harvest or to ask for a better harvest. They would hopefully have a bountiful year. However, that was not always to be, unfortunately, in that time period. They would also take their own torches and they would light these torches with that bonfire, and they would bring it into their own homes and relight their hearths. So basically they would let the old fire die out, thus symbolizing the end of the year, and then they would relight their hearth fires with the bonfire, symbolizing the reignition, I guess you want to say, whatever word, relighting of the new year. So out with the old and with the new. Basically, that's kind of the idea they had back then. My cousin is a cosmetologist, and she's probably watching this being like, what the hell are you doing? Sorry, Lex, I didn't take classes. Who knew? I can't remember the damn Pope's name. I can't find it anywhere in my notes. But, so, there was a Pope who changed it to May 13th, and another Pope changed it back years later. Not that the Celts really cared. I mean, they were like, we don't believe in your shit, so why are we gonna even follow it? So, Christianity came into play, and it really, I don't want to say it screwed everything up, but it definitely added some animosity. It was the Celts' rituals first, not the Catholic churches. Some enmity, of course, between the pagans and the Christians for obvious reasons, because, belief system, all that good stuff. Christians started to call it All Saints' Day, All Souls' Day for November 1st, and the night before, October 31st, was called All Hallows' Eve. Hence why we call it All Hallows' Eve. So one tradition that they had was called mumming. Very similar to something we do now called trick-or-treating. So basically what they would do is they would go, they would dress up and they would go door to door in their villages, and they would perform tricks, songs, music, they'd play music, they would dance around, basically anything they could do to earn a few coins, food, things like that, small trinkets. So that's really how trick-or-treating was born. It's apparently believed that Guy Fawkes Night had something to do with what is now currently trick-or-treating. It, of course, as we all know, trick-or-treating really revolves around kids. And so Guy Fawkes, for those who don't know, was a conspirator against King James in the early 17th century, so 1605, so just a couple years after King James ascended the throne. He was a Protestant king. Guy Fawkes was a Catholic plotter. He did not like King James at all. Apparently what happened was him and a bunch of his buddies decided to hide some gunpowder under the House of Parliament, and it sounds like, from my research, it's alleged that one of the conspirators, Francis Tresham, actually tipped off authorities. Yeah, you got some gunpowder under the House of Parliament. You might want to take care of that. Sorry. Guy Fawkes was, of course, executed, as were his buddies, and effigies were burnt of him. And it is said that people celebrate Guy Fawkes Night basically happy that the king was saved, that there was they didn't blow up Parliament, nothing like that. Children would actually carry, in the mid-19th century, it was said that they would actually carry around effigies of Guy Fawkes. They would go around saying, "Penny for the guy." They think that some of that inspired trick-or-treating over in the States, as immigrants from England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales all came over to the U.S. especially during the mid-19th century, during the potato famine and all that. So they believe that was an inspiration for trick-or-treating. It was children, yelling out, give me a penny, give me candy. So little tidbit. I'm sorry, not sure how much water that holds, but definitely something to think about. Jack-o'-lanterns have an interesting start. Jack-o'-lanterns were actually named after this mythical character, this guy, man, named Stingy Jack. Stingy Jack apparently tricked the devil a few times from not paying for a drink, and then convincing him to climb up into a tree, carving the side of the cross into a tree so the devil couldn't climb down. Basically just driving the devil nuts, pissing him right off. You don't want to piss off the devil. That's just, 101 right there. When Jack died, neither heaven nor hell wanted him. They're both like, So Jack was sent to wander the earth for all of eternity and gave him a lit piece of coal, a piece of coal on fire. Apparently, he would spook people, try to trick them, things like that. And then it just kind of came to pass. People would carve their own turnips and light them, illuminate them to scare off Stingy Jack. So he wouldn't bother people. He would try to trick you or anything like that. Eventually, the name turned to Jack of the Lantern and then to Jack-o'-lantern. Pumpkins didn't actually become a thing until Irish immigrants came over to the States and found pumpkins were a lot better to carve and they're a lot bigger. Anyone knows what a turnip is? It's not that big. It's actually very interesting. They would use carved turnips, potatoes, and they would hang them in their windows, they'd hang them in their doors. They'd make these scary faces to scare away Stingy Jack and other malevolent spirits. And actually when the Puritans were over here, this was something that was going on for a while. The Puritans actually believed that if you illuminated a house with a carved squash or pumpkin or something, you were doing the devil's work. Of course, the Puritans, the name says it, Puritans. They believed everything was devil possessed, even children. It's not really far from the truth, though. I've taken care of some really devilish kids, but they're cute, so you can't hate them. I wonder if I should experiment with a lip color, because I didn't do much with my eyes. I didn't go crazy. So some little interesting tidbits. So during the Middle Ages, celebrations of Samhain progressed, and not just with costumes where they became a lot more malevolent, a lot more scary. So they started to light these more personal bonfires, their own at-home bonfires. They were called, and I don't think I'm saying this right at all, I'm totally going to botch this word, Samhainigans? Simnanigans? I don't know. Maybe it's shenanigans? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. It's on the screen. Maybe you guys will figure it out. I looked up the pronunciation and I couldn't find anything. So anyway, they would light these fires on their farms, outside of their homes. They believed that they're more sacred with the family. They would kind of they would protect them from witches and fairies and, evil spirits and all that. Also, because they believed that the spirits of the dead, including their dead ancestors, came to Earth, they did believe that their ancestors would come and dine with them. So they would set extra seats at the table. They would leave food out, leave their doors and windows open during the whole celebration. So that way their dead ancestors could pop in for a snack or gulp of mead, whatever their fancy was. Speaking of mead, according to documentation, carvings and pictures and whatnot, during Samhain, it was expected to gorge thyself. 6 days, supposedly, 6 days of excessive drinking and gluttonous feasts. These people it was literally the case of eat, drink, and be merry, and not have ghosts in your house. Pretty cool, pretty fun holiday, I gotta say. I had a couple drinks at my brother's wedding, and that was enough. These people really just set the standard for everyone else's liver. Our livers are strong because of them. I wonder if that's why I have such a strong liver. Because my genetics might date back that far, who knows. I am of Irish, English, and Scottish descent, so it's very possible. So there are four, so Samhain is the most important of the 4 sacred pagan celebrations of their year, One of them was Imbolc, IMBOLC. That usually happened halfway between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. And Beltane, am I saying that right? Yeah. Which happened halfway through the spring equinox and the summer solstice. So you had the winter, spring, summer, and then the summer solstice and the fall equinox was, I hope to God I'm saying this right, Lugnazd? I don't know. There's a lot of words in here I don't understand. That, of course, went between the summer solstice, fall equinox, and then between the fall equinox and the winter solstice was Samhain. And Samhain was, as previously stated, the end of their year. It was their New Year's, basically. About 2 months ahead of ours. I mean, look at the history of Halloween. There's so much more to it. Like, I didn't want to make like a 3-hour video. Otherwise, you know, I don't think I'd cover it in 3 hours anyway. But the history of Halloween is just so fascinating. And the fact that, like, we have this holiday. This is my favorite holiday. I love Halloween. It's my favorite time of year. It's, you know, it's spooky. I mean, for God's sakes, my whole bedroom is just Halloweenified. Where couldn't you tell? I mean, come on. It's just a fun holiday, and this is a fun video. I loved making this because I loved learning about Samhain, Samhain, however you're gonna say it, but I loved learning about it. I loved, you know, getting to understand why we have the rituals we have today. Just amazing. You are so freaking cute. You realize how cute you are? Bailey, do you know how cute? Oh my God, the flop. Ah, you're killing mommy. Oh, Bailey, you're just too cute for words. Alright, that's it for this video. If you like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button underneath, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!